Welcome to the cafe.
What is the word for that? Let's just say if we had an episode of Grey's Anatomy, it would be like the most lit one. Like nonsense. Where was that? In the beginning.
In the Beningi, there was God.
The work was moving over the water. I'm a failure at that.
Story synopsis.
Okay.
The most enticing story synopsis for someone who hasn't read the book.
Yeah, you see now that part. Like every time someone asks me a question like that, I just space. So I'm just gonna try and say what it's about without saying what it's about.
Yes.
So the Journals of He, first and foremost, obviously, is an erotic romance. First thing, I mean, just by looking at the cover, see for yourself, you know that it's gonna be lit. And it is steeped in love, obviously, and self-discovery in pretty much all of its forms. Hint, hint. In adventure and in growth. Yes, it's in growth. And it's told from the perspectives of the two hero characters. So that's Dominic and Delia, but mainly from Delia's side of things. And it talks about her relationship with her very first boyfriend and how that relationship both meets her expectations and deviates from it by a wide margin. So when they meet, that first encounter that they have it's non-verbal. They don't speak to each other, but it's very, very powerful. It sticks with them because
I felt it.
Yeah,
I
felt it when I was writing it. Because funny enough, that hadn't been the initial beginning that I had. I didn't have it at that beginning, but
I was gonna get there.
Yeah, I'll get there. So it sticks with them, and then for years, Delia only remembers bits and pieces of him because that moment was so impactful for her that she remembers the feeling and forgets like
the pictures.
Yes. Because you know, like how Maya Angelou says that they'll forget the word you spoke, but they won't forget how you made them feel. So something like that, even though they didn't speak. And then years later, when she sees him again, she tells herself she's not going to let the opportunity pass her by. Drama. And then more drama. And then bam. There. That's the best I can do without getting into it.
Yeah. I love the drama at the end. We'll get there. Okay. You said it's an erotica romance, right?
Yeah.
Where did it come? Where did it stem from? Was it influenced by friends, family, life?
I think it's okay. This is going to be throwing myself out there, but it's mainly fantasy, without being very forward and beyond the PG. It's all these ideas that I would get when, like, my friends would tell me, "Oh, you don't know what I did last night." And, so now they're telling me all these things, and I'm like, Jesus, what about me? And I'm like, you know what? Since it's not going to be as simple as me saying, God, bring him tomorrow, I'm just going to. So I put all the fantasies together, and then, like
if not gonna, God's not going to give me this man, I'm going to make him.
Exactly. And it's like, it's not even all of one person. And it's not just about the erotic factor. It's romance and connection with another human being. So I put all of that together and I put it into one dude, and I'm like, okay, let's make a story out of this. Because I was like, if I have nowhere to put it, because like I can't like readily go and just grab my friends together and say, hey, let me tell you a story about the things that I'm dreaming about.
Jesus.
It'll just be like,
okay,
girl, are you
Slow
alright? Exactly. So then from there, I'm like, okay, cool. Let's make him a guy. Let's give him a backstory. Let's give her a story that ties into that. And before you know it, big fat book.
A big fat book indeed, and I love it. So tell us about the book launch in Kenya. How did that go?
Okay, but funny enough, I never knew that Hirowe was in existence. Because Hirowe, it's the name. Okay, which book fair do you want? The first one or the Kenya one? The Kenya one, right? So, at the beginning of that, a publicist found me. She was just starting out just like me. And then she took an interest in the book that I was trying to put out. And then part of her stake is to publicize as much as she can about my book and, in fact, books in general. And then somehow she managed to get in touch with a lady who is also an author, I believe. But then she gravitates a lot towards building reading culture in Kenya.
Okay.
So then, since their platform is
wide,
it is very wide. It's not just for African authors; it's for the whole diaspora, across the world. So then she's like, "Oh, hey, guess what? I have this author. She's South African, Ugandan. This is her story. Do you think it could fit with your theme?" And they're like, "Okay, emancipation. Absolutely, it fits."
Yes.
So now, because I am such a I haven't really grown into this book as much as it's very forward thinking. I was like, emancipation, like how? Because I was thinking, African stories, like inherently African stories, and the struggle and coming out of it. And she's like, no, emancipation across the board, including the emancipation of writers and how their stories go out of Africa and into the world. And I'm like, okay, fine, I'll go with it. Hope I get it right, because I was petrified. I've never ever had a discussion like that before. So then they're like, okay, the only slot they have is for a book launch, not for the proper normal book fair where you come and say, this is my book. So then she hooked up with them, and they're like, yes, definitely bring her on. And then before you know it, there I am having Kenya. Hello, like it's not just here, it's there. And then the thing that made it so epic is because African culture in general, we're mainly very conservative. Doesn't matter which part of the world you are, African culture is generally very, very conservative. So now, imagine I make a splash like this.
Yeah, remember what I first said to you the first time I saw your Facebook? I'm like, I've never thought an African author would write an erotica. I was rolling on the floor. I was like, why am I not having money in my bank right now?
That is how I felt when I put it out. I'm like, are you sure though, Daisy? Like, do you the first book is going to be like this, the kind of stuff that's going to make your parents literally come to you and say, what did Joburg do to you?
Come back home.
Exactly. So I was excited about it. I was nervous, obviously, because I didn't know how they were going to receive me. Because I've had situations where I know I had one reviewer who got the book, and then she came into it with preconceptions about what a black African writer would be writing about. So then her response to it was very, very visceral and very, why? Many, many questions about why is this woman doing this to herself and allowing a man to control her. And I'm like,
oh, okay, so we have those. We do have those. Sometimes I am that type of reader. Not in this book.
Yeah. So I thought they'd come and be like that because they were African. So
talking about reviews, where would one leave a review?
Anywhere where the book is bought, really. So Exclusive Books' website. And all the other stores, Bargain Books and Lotus Bookstore and Galakudu and Profound and many others. In fact, any store where the book comes from, you can leave a review there, or even on my page. Because then people at least will see it when they go onto the page, or even sending it to me directly, and I just
post it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know you threw yourself out there for more than you'd like, but a little self-description
of like me in general. Let's see. So I'm gonna start with the mundane things, stuff that people already know.
Okay.
I'm a nurse. I am. Okay. I work with tiny humans, so that's babies only. Tiny humans. It's so adorable.
Is that like the official?
Nah, that's
okay. It's just Daisy.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think I stole that from Grey's Anatomy. Somebody called them tiny humans, and from there I'm like, makes sense. Tiny humans. Because then you realize that when you're working with them, despite them not knowing anything about anything, you can just spot the distinct different personalities.
Yeah.
They're so adorable. And besides working with babies, the youngest of 4, the other 3 are also sisters. My parents are in health sciences. In fact, pretty much the whole family. Like the entire extended family. Doctors, nurses, surgeons.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I love reading, obviously. Love writing, obviously. Like words, their power. Like even in music. Words. Yes. There's a power there. Like, even as simple as one word that you say can just hold a lot of weight. I love words. They're just so beautiful. What else about me? I believe I'm shy. Apparently I'm not. But the way I see it, if I'm in the right company, I bloom. Okay. If I'm...
Like a daisy.
See? Exactly. I'm pretty sure my parents knew what they were doing when they named me that.
Yeah, well, you can see the distinct personalities in little humans. I bet they did too.
Yes. And also, I'm a poet. I think predominantly I'm a poet. I like telling stories, but poetry has always held a far greater kick for me because, like, it's short and it speaks to a feeling in that moment, and it grabs you. It grabs you. I love writing it, even though I'm not really a fan of reading it, which is odd. But God knew what He was doing, so
it's not odd at all. I relate.
Gosh.
I love reading poetry. Like, if I'm scrolling through, I take my page now, it's all poetry. But having a whole book on the shelf,
I don't know how that works. It's difficult. I liken it to like reading the Bible. You can't read it cover to cover.
Right?
Yeah.
You're right, exactly.
You have to read it and owning it. I don't know, maybe one day. Maybe
mine. I'm about to publish.
Yes. I'm there for it.
Okay, speaking about poetry, the Delia 12 Thursdays anthology. I see a pattern, like, even in your page, there's a distinct way that you write your poetry. I've never seen it before. I'm like, where does this one come from? Which one is this one? What is it, like something that naturally happened, or was it something inspired by something else?
Both. Because then the very first poem, if I'm not wrong, is the one about 21 days, isn't it? Let's see. The very first poem there in the 12 Thursdays anthology is 352. So that's 3 weeks. That's the medical way that you write it. 3/52. 3 weeks. And 3 weeks, everyone knows, is 21 days if you include the weekends.
Yes.
So I remember the very first time my heart broke, like a proper true breaking of my heart.
They crawl on the floor.
Yo.
Eat a whole bucket of ice cream.
Not even eat. Where's the appetite? They're lying there and wondering, God, have you killed me? Is this death? Like, that was the first poem I wrote. And I didn't want to share it on social media because I was still friends with the guy at the time. So he would have seen it and he would have known.
That.
So then, after the ending of this book, when I realized, okay, this is how it's going to end, I'm like, hey, let's think about how I felt when I realized, this is over.
Yeah.
And then that poem came. And I'm like, wait, how many weeks am I going to have between... Okay, when it was still a blog, I was like, I'm going to give it a 3-month period between the ending of 1 and the start of 2. And then 3 months is like what? It's 12 weeks, isn't it? So then that's 12 Thursdays. So I'm like, all right.
Anthology.
Yeah. So then when it was still a blog, every Thursday, instead of posting my chapters the way that I do every Friday, I would post a poem every Thursday of the week. Yeah. And then on the last one, the last poem speaks about how she accepts that, okay, I love this guy. And it's not going to go away. Yeah. So then after that, I'm like, okay, get ready. Book 2 is coming out. And then it's like...
I mean, the book itself is a cliffhanger. The poetry itself is a cliffhanger. It's fine. I shall reserve my anger into the second book.
Don't worry, it's coming.
Any local authors you would recommend that you've read yourself, maybe?
I'm a failure with that, hey? Like, I think I was pretty late in the game with regards to authors like that, because then I would mainly read a lot of crime fiction, a lot of espionage, a lot of David Baldacci, a lot of John Grisham. Then chances of you even finding an author in the same genre that's out are very slim.
Yeah.
Not that I'm at the forefront of everything, but I realized
you
that...
are. Let's take a moment and just, bask in the praise, because you are.
I shall believe you. I noticed a lot of African authors, they write painful stories.
Yes, struggle.
Yeah. with the abuse and coming out of the trenches and living with the history of...
That is actually the reason why most South African people don't prefer reading South African books, because I'm depressed in real life. And you want me to get depressed within the pages as well?
Come on.
No, thank you.
Yeah, like, because I mean, you want to escape. Like, that was why I started reading, like, officially, was to just get out of my life and into someone else's life. Yeah, and enjoy their adventure. And you know, like when you pause in chapter 5 and you look around and think, oh, that guy looks just like this one. Yeah. So then I wouldn't even know where to start with recommending, because I haven't found a book that's similar to this where the hero characters are black and they're living the soft life and their problems are
to the minimum.
Yeah.
Nice life problems.
Exactly. They're like relationship problems, not secret babies and abusive parents and
cheating and lack of jobs
and all of that. Like, it's depressing. It is. So, if you find one, let me know.
I don't think there is one. See how high I jumped. I'll never forget that moment. You know, I won't stop talking about it.
You must tell me about it.
Okay, and then any advice for upcoming authors? Self-publishing.
Lots of advice. The first one is, don't write to publish. Don't do that, because then if you write to publish, you start wondering what all the other writers are doing and what's relevant in the market and what's trending. Don't do that. Write it like no one is going to read it. Write it like the only individual in the room there is you and your creator. That's it, you know, and write it until it's finished. Write it until it's done. Don't, like, okay, unless you're that kind of writer who pauses in between to edit, which I don't recommend. I think just go, and your characters will tell you, okay, we're done. This is the end of the story. Yeah. Then you can go back and edit. Yeah. And then while you're doing that, make sure that you do it with a plan in mind. Like, if you write to publish, then you're worried also about how many books am I going to publish in a year or a month, and what if I don't meet the deadline, and blah, 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 blah. And save. Oh gosh, you must save money. I know it's hard. Everything is expensive. Life is difficult, but you must, because then, particularly the self-publishing part, people don't understand that you're paying for all of it by yourself.
Printing, the cover, editing, design,
everything is coming out of your pocket. So then you treat it like how you would treat any service. You pay for it. It doesn't come for free. And then, I know this is a sad thing to say, but prepare yourself for the moment where when you publish, that week people don't buy immediately.
Exactly.
It's not like that. I mean, we don't have the same advantages that known authors do. They have the backing of humongous corporations that can just advertise for them and do everything and send them across the country and all of that. So try your best to speak on behalf of your book. Yeah. Because then you are its voice. It's an inanimate object. So you are the one that has the power to put it into people's spaces. And also try and be fearless when you do that. And even when you're working with the people that are creating the covers and the blurb, the way that it looks and the way that it feels, stand up for your book. It's your baby. Yeah. So when you see, okay, no, this color is whack and this font is ugly, fine, use respectful language, but tell them, you're not following my vision. Be fearless with that, because then this is your dream.
And that's your money as well.
It's your money. It's your money. And I know it's a challenge. Anything that you grow from scratch is a challenge. But if you truly believe in it, go. Yeah. Go. Put in the work. Do the time. Don't expect handouts. I mean, what I realized is that once people see the power of what you can do, then eventually the doors open on their own. Even though it's, oh God, it's hard. My chest, I feel that. But you should try. And even though maybe in the beginning you don't feel like you have your people, they will come. They will. Write that book, share it, and they will come. They will. And I think lastly, if you intend to make a career out of your writing, have a body of work. You can't just have the one book and jump immediately to I want to publish, because the feeling of producing nothing after you've done something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such unnecessary pressure. Goodness, I still have to do something for a whole year. I can't just push the book out and say buy my book and then leave it.
Yeah.
I have to create content. I have to keep pushing
the video
price.
editing.
It's a lot.
I know.
It is exhausting.
I know.
But it's all worth it at the end. And even the end doesn't have to be the end. Just keep shifting your goalpost. Because then if the end was just to publish, then what? You published and what? So shift it from there. Grow your readership. Okay, you've grown your readership. Now what? Shift it some more.
Yeah.
Build the world that you want your characters to be in. So it's like a lot of advice. It's a lot of things.
Okay, and then the beginning and the ending of the beginning. I like the inception date.
Yeah.
Did it start the way you had initially thought it would start, and did it end the way you thought it would or wanted it to?
Nah, both to no. All of them, no. The original book it was written in hindsight. So it would be like, I think the first chapter of the original manuscript was Dom and Delia are very much in their relationship. Very much in it. But it got so irritating in my opinion because now it's, why did you do this to me? And then you flash back to how that happened.
Sounds fun though, I have to say.
It was, but then at the end I'm like, this is tiring. I can't keep going back and forth, back and forth.
And you have to keep track of the timeline, remember?
Exactly.
As a writer, you have to keep track of the timeline. The memories should be precise.
Yes.
The years, the time, no.
And on top of that, you're going between how close they are, and then you flash back to how separate they were while she's learning to get close to him. And I'm like, no, that's tiring. I would be annoyed if I was having an important discussion with someone and they kept bringing up past things.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, imagine the reader going, oh, why did you stop it there? And let's go back to. So I'm like, okay, no. Like, okay, let's start at the beginning rather, and let's make them not meet. Then I'm like, but how do they meet? Force an interaction. How? Bring out his gallant side. So now he sees her, and she falls, and then the look on her face. Something.
But that is not
that.
the first time they met.
That was like, actually, it was.
No.
It was.
Okay, the physical interaction, but the first time they met was when he was... Spoilers alert! But you know, the car scene when she was walking out and then, yeah. And she knew, well, she didn't, but she had that feeling.
Yes.
And I was like, yeah, I'm with you.
There was a pull.
Yeah. A sneak peek into the continuance.
I'll give you 2 sneak peeks. Okay, I'll give you 3. The 2 will be private. I ain't showing you. I'll show you those. I've got the cover. It's already there. I've got the blurb. It's already there. So now those are the private ones I will show you. And now for everyone else, expect more secrets.
Jesus Christ.
Like it's finna be lit. Like even I was like, oh yeah, yes. That's the secret right there. Expect a Hilda plot twist like you never saw coming.
Oh my god.
Never. You'll be like, wait,
she doesn't fly out of a plane and falls down to her.
Well, that depends. If we're gonna talk philosophically, flying out of a plane, she definitely flies out of a plane. Philosophically.
And dies.
Philosophically speaking, she dies.
I'm telling you guys right now, if this woman doesn't die, I'm going to do a fan fiction thriller where she dies very miserably by my hands.
And I will second it. Because I hate her. But I'm like, come girl, come.
Drama.
Drama. And then something that I think everybody will love. And then particularly the ones with the freak flags, they're going to be like, oh yeah.
When's your next book signing?
That one at the moment is as yet TBD, because we pretty much are closing off the summer. This is like the very last interaction we have
for this book.
Yes, for the summer. And then of course winter comes, and then we give y'all a moment to breathe. Okay. And then afterwards I'm just gonna blow up. Like last year was unfortunate because COVID came and there wasn't much of anything I could do. Everything had to be squished in between January and now.
Yeah.
And then obviously social calendars for events like that are normally booked a year or 6-8 months in advance. So now I am ready. Dominic is going to be, he's fundamentally a good guy. Even though fine, there are some mess-ups there, he's fundamentally a good guy. He's got his ducks in a row, and it's Delia who's a little bit...
Right.
Exactly. So I'm like, okay, let's give her some plot twists and see if she can cope with it. Let's see if he really is the hero. But then, at the end of the day, it's not your fault what happened to you and who you are.
Exactly.
Is she really ready for what he has? Because, man, he has a lot.
Oh, he does.
Oh, yeah. And you guys are going to be like, wait. He
What?
did what? Wait. Wait, pause right there. As if the ladies were not enough. All his ladies. And his special bedroom with his special activities, you're going to be like...
Now this.
Wait.
What?
That.
That's it from me and my lovely author, Daisy Jane KIZZA. mirthyKayla signing out. Until next time.
Literally next time.